Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and here's a look at every single minifigure featured in the Ninjago Dragons Rising sets. Now these sets were sent to me early by LEGO for review, and I've got full reviews of every single set up right now on my YouTube channel. So if you'd like to see reviews of any of the full sets, make sure to go check those out after this video. But the purpose of this video is to take a look at the minifigures that come in this wave overall. You can see I've got every single minifigure lined up here, and you also may notice that the minifigures from the Ninjago City markets are missing. While I do also have the markets, most of the figures in that set are exclusive, so like half of this video would just be reviewing the figures that are exclusive to the markets. So if you want to see that, just go check out my actual markets review. The purpose of this video is to focus on the main wave Ninjago Dragons Rising sets. So before we get into the individual minifigures, I want to take a look at the overall figure distribution here. You can see at the top, the two most common figures are Kai and Lloyd. In terms of their normal suits, you get a total of 4 Kais and 4 Lloyds this wave. And then they also each have a gimmick suit on the end. And then the next most common is Neo with 2 regular suits, and then 1 gimmick suit. And then finally, Zayn, Cole, and Jay each got 2 figures. However, none of them have a gimmick suit for this wave. Now, I'm not including the minifigures exclusive to the Ninjago City markets in this video, but that set does come with the normal version of both Lloyd and Neo for this wave. So if we are counting the Ninjago City markets here, then that brings Lloyd up to 5 sets as the normal suit comes in, as well as 3 for Neo. And then Kai does also come in a polybag this wave, however, I don't have that polybag. Polybags aren't wide release, so I don't count those as a part of the main wave, but I thought it was still worth mentioning here. So yeah, if we count every possible way to get these figures, it would be 5 for Kai, 5 for Lloyd, and 3 for Neo. But now moving on to the other characters in this wave, we have the new ninja right here. Starting off with Aaron, we get a total of 4 of him. Now one of those does come in a 4+ set, however one of the Neos also comes in a 4+ set. So main wave sets, he has the same amount as Sora down here, 3. Sora is of course the other new ninja for this wave, but yeah, with that 4+ set, he gets slightly more than her. Then we have the all-new baby dragon, Baby Ryu, and this guy's absolutely adorable, and he also comes in a total of 4 sets. However, once again, one of them is a 4+ set. Still, though, nice to see him so common. You could see all, like, the new main characters for this wave are the most common figures overall, which that's very nice to see. Then here's Ras, another one of the main villains, who also comes in 4 sets, though again, one of them's a 4+. Then there's Empress Beatrix, who comes in 2 sets. Rapton, another one of the main villains, comes in 3, though he also comes in that same polybag that Kai comes in. So if we're counting that, he has a total of 4 sets. And then we have the generic villains over here. The most common one is the Imperium Claw General. That's the one at the very top, and he comes in a total of 3 sets. A little bit weird that they're the generals, but they're the most common. But then just the normal Imperium Claw guys, these gold ones down here, they only come in 2 sets. Similar thing with the guards. The Imperium Guard Commander comes in 2 sets, but the regular Imperium Guard only comes in 1. Then these technically aren't minifigures, but I still wanted to lay them out here. There's like these little Imperium Drones that come in 4 different sets. These are in the 3 spinner sets as well as the Zayn car. And then finally here are the 2 exclusive minifigures for this wave, the figures that only come in 1 set each. We have this all new character, Wildfire, and then the Spirit of the Temple. So now getting to the actual minifigure review, we'll start with the ninja minifigures of this wave. First with Kai right here. Here are the 2 different versions of Kai. We of course have Kai in his standard Dragon's Rising suit, as well as Dragon Power Kai, who's the exclusive minifigure who comes in the spinner set for this wave. And the standard Dragon's Rising Kai I think is pretty solid. He's far from my favorite of the new suits this wave, however I don't think he's bad either. The color scheme just feels a little bit generic, which makes sense, they're going into a new show. They want to use like the ninja's most iconic appearances. So they just stuck with the normal red and the dark red for Kai. However, as a result, this suit just feels a little bit standard. Still though, I like the dark red hands, it's a fun way to mix things up. But easily, my favorite part of the suit is the belt. It's just solid black, and I think it looks so good contrasted against the red. With the gold tips, too, it's just the perfect color scheme in my opinion. And of course, you'll see as I go on in this video, but every single ninja has these all-new mask and hood pieces. Those are 2 separate parts, very similar to how they did the Sons of Garmadon masks, though the posability on these is a lot more limited, so you're not really able to turn the ninjas' heads as much, but the hood can rotate side to side ever so slightly. So if you move the head underneath as well, maybe you can have the ninja look to each side, but yeah, unfortunately, it is very limited. You can also see around the back, this mask piece is armor coming out the back, and it has a double sword holder back there. This is nearly identical to the sword holder on the original ZX armor from 2012. I think most recently that armor piece was used on Skylar's crystallized figure. But yeah, it's cool to see that on a new armor piece, and I think it looks great, because you can see you could fit 2 standard katanas around the ninja's back, and of course you can do that with every single one of the ninja this wave. There's how the back of the figure looks with the katanas removed. And then turning back around, here's how it looks if you take off just the top hood piece. You can see that exposes the rest of his head, as well as his alternate face around the back. And then taking off the armor piece, there's a look at the full torso print. I actually think this looks a little bit better with the armor off, because you can see he's got a black undershirt underneath, which I feel like just helps break up the suit a lot more. Black is a color that Kai doesn't use all too often. Obviously there's been like the black suits in the past, but he did have a black belt like this on like his Hands of Time suit, so it's neat to see him sort of call back to that. And then you can also see he's got these little golden fire symbols up here, and there's a full look at that face print. Now all the ninja this wave have like these digital eyes, very similar to Prime Empire. However, each of the ninja this wave have a unique design for their digital eyes. So Kai's got like these very rectangular orange eyes that are quite thin thin, and then like these little tiny bits of fire all around the mask. Then turning him around, taking a look at his back torso print and alternate face. This alternate face, in my opinion, is one of the best Kai faces we've ever gotten, if not the best. The expression's just perfect, that confident smirk, it feels straight out of the show. I'm so happy to get this here, and I'm so happy it's so common too. Really, really love that face. And then his back torso print has this all new Dragon's Rising logo on it. All the ninja again have that this wave. And you can see it's printed in metallic gold. It's got like a dragon energy core in the center, and then there's like flames erupting around it in that dark red. So yeah, I wish the dark red on this figure maybe popped a little bit more, but I do like the use of black and gray on him. I think those are fun colors. So while he's not my favorite ninja suit of the wave, I think he's solid all around. And then here's Dragon Power Kai, who is mostly the same. You can see he has the same leg piece, same armor piece, and same face print. However, he has an exclusive print on his hood, as well as a new exclusive torso piece. Now that torso piece is really cool. It looks like he's got like samurai armor on. There's that Dragon's Rising symbol in the center, though instead of being in gold, now it's like filled with fire. And then there's also fire bursting out around the back of that armor. Then he also has transparent orange arms, which are super cool to see. And then turn him around, you can see he's got a symbol in the center of the armor right there. I love how that perfectly fits in the circle. And again, more fire bursting around that. That hood piece too is incredible. I love all the little flames on it. And then taking the armor piece off, there's a better look at the full torso print, as well as the back torso print around the back. Yeah, I love this guy. He's probably my favorite of the gimmick figures this wave. The fire on top of the hood just looks so elegant, and those transparent arms make this guy look super cool. Also, it's a small thing, but I like how this guy's trans orange, not trans red, because in the crystallized wave, we got Golden Dragon Kai who used trans red, and while I love that figure, this helps set that figure apart from this figure, because the two of them are just so different. So yeah, despite the fact that he reuses so many parts, I think this is a distinct and unique figure, and I think it looks good. Very fun one all around. Next, we come to Lloyd, and here are the two minifigures he gets this wave. Again, just like Kai, he has a standard Dragon's Rising suit right here, and then he also has a Dragon Power minifigure, which is the figure that comes in the gimmick sets this wave, Lloyd's Spinner. Starting with standard Dragon's Rising Lloyd though, this is such a different figure from his previous suits, because this is an all new shade of green for Lloyd. This is LEGO's bright green color that they don't use all too often. It's mainly used for like plant material and sets. But yeah, as the name suggests, it's slightly brighter than just LEGO's standard green, and I think it just pops so much more, especially with this dark green on top of it. Dark green on top of normal green, while it looks good, the two colors are still quite similar, but dark green on top of bright green, all the details on Lloyd's suit just become so much more obvious. And that just makes this figure feel extra cool. You can see he's got that same armor around the back and hood at the top, and there's how he looks with the swords removed from his back. The only part I maybe don't love about this guy is the light green belt, because I don't know, I don't feel like it fits with the other greens the best. However, it's not the biggest deal, and the rest of the figure does look pretty good, so it doesn't bother me all too much. Then removing the armor piece, there's a better look at Lloyd's face print. Again, he's got those digital eyes just like Kai, though instead of the flames around the sides, now he's got these little swirls, and his eyes are more triangular, and they're sort of a light green color. It sort of ties in with his belt, actually. And then, of course, he's got a little angry face right there, and that's a very similar angry face to the one that he's had on just like his standard figure since the movie. However, of course, because this is a new face print on one side, it's also a new face print on the other side, and here you can see Lloyd's just got a somewhat angry face. And I think this actually looks really good. It might be one of the best angry Lloyd faces we've gotten. Definitely better than the angry face from his movie figure that's been used ever since the movie. But yeah, I like it. It looks very stern and serious. It works quite well for him. And then you can see he's got that Dragon's Rising symbol around the back, just like the other ninja. However, it's got all these little swirls surrounding it. Those swirls seem to be the symbolism they're going for with like Lloyd's powers this wave, which I don't believe he's ever really used them in the past, but it's interesting. I kind of like it. And then you can see those golden emblems on the top of his torso. All the ninja have different ones there. And for Lloyd, it looks like there's little tiny horns, maybe as a reference to his Oni form, I'm not sure. But yeah, this is a super cool minifigure all around. One of the most common figures of this wave, but I honestly don't mind having a ton of this guy, because he just looks fantastic. And then here's Dragon Power Lloyd, and just like Kai, he reuses 3 of the pieces from this figure. The legs are the same, the armor is the same, and the headpiece is the same. However, he's got an exclusive hood print as well as an exclusive torso piece. And that hood print does look good. You can see it's in that leaded green color, so it sort of ties in with the belt. And he's got more of those swirls again to represent his power. However, the thing I really like about this hood is there's 2 little horns at the very end, and I assume that is a reference to his Oni form, to show that, like, yeah, he's got all this green power, but that Oni form is in there. That's very cool. I wonder if that's teasing anything in the show. Like, are we gonna see Lloyd's Oni form again? Because obviously I know the new show is more about Eren and Sora, but it would actually be really cool if Lloyd just broke out the Oni form at some point. But yeah, that hood piece looks great. And then the torso piece is quite cool too. Again, very like samurai-like armor. But instead of the fire like Kai had, Lloyd has green lightning erupting around the back of that. There's also that dragon face logo in the center again, though this time with green energy running through it. And then Lloyd also has transparent green arms. Now someone actually pointed out to me in the comments on my review of the Lloyd Spinner, these are actually quite exciting because we've never really gotten them before. I believe we've got one of the arms on a LEGO video figure that was pretty tough to get, but yeah, we've never gotten a double set of transparent green arms before. So that's actually really nice to see on this figure, and yeah, they look great. They really tie everything together so nicely, and really helps Lloyd feel like he's powered up. You can see the base color of his torso is dark green as well. Again, contrasts so well with the bright green, and helps make these two suits look very different too. And then removing the armor piece, you can see he's got the same face print, but there's a full look at the torso print and that symbol in the center. And then turning him around, taking a look at his back torso print, there you can see he's got like his L symbol right there. And once again, that's supposed to line up with the armor on the back. So I would say this Lloyd figure is probably my third favorite of the ninja suits this wave. And then Dragon Power Lloyd's probably my least favorite of the gimmick suits. However, I like all the gimmick suits, so it's just the one that I like the least. But I still think it's super cool, especially with those transparent green arms. And then we come to Nia, who's like the final one of the main ninja to be one of the focus characters for this wave, because while Zayn, Cole, and Jay still come in sets, they're not going to be as prominent in the show. So as such, she's also the final character to have a gimmick suit for this wave. But yeah, here you can see we just have the standard Dragon's Rising version of Nia, as well as Dragon Power Nia. Now, the standard Dragon's Rising Nia is either my favorite or second favorite of all the ninja suits this wave. I go back and forth between her and Zayn, but both of them are really quite good. For the first time ever, she uses Azure as her main color, which just looks so nice. I do love the gunmetal gray on her, and that's what she typically uses, with the Azure as a secondary color. But no, you can see with this wave, the gunmetal gray is actually just used for printing, but the actual pieces all over this figure are Azure. And again, similar to Lloyd, it just pops so much more. She really stands out, super bright, and that just makes for a very unique minifigure. I also really love how she has this dark red belt here. That's what really ties it all together for me, because dark red's a color that she used as Samurai X, obviously, and then she used it on her early ninja suits as well. And then similarly to Kai, this sort of calls back to her Hands of Time suit, because by the time we got to Hands of Time, she'd already moved on from the dark red, but she still kept it on her belt just sort of as a callback, but she really hasn't used it at all as of recent. So it's so great to see that back, and it just fits with all the other colors so well. But yeah, all the metallic printing on her looks great, such a high level of detail. Also, something I haven't mentioned is all the characters have shoe printing this wave, which might sound like a little thing, but I don't believe like the crystallized figures had shoe printing, so it's definitely nice to see it here. It just adds that nice little extra bit of detail. And then of course, just like all the other characters, she's got the sword holder out the back, which can fit 2 golden katanas, but with those removed. That's how she looks from the back. And the background to the front, here she is with the hood removed, as well as the mask removed, and that gives you a full look at the face print as well as the torso print. Torso print, you can see she has a dark red undershirt as well, that just ties together all the colors so nicely. And then that face print, that like digital eye mask has little water droplets surrounding it. And similarly to Lloyd, she also has like very triangular eyes, though hers are a lot longer and thinner, and they're more of like a seafoam green color. Then turning her around, there's her back torso print and her alternate face. Again, all metallic printing on her back torso print, which I will say does look good. However, depending on the lighting, sometimes those two colors might blend in together, so it maybe doesn't pop as much as some of the other ninja, but in my opinion, it just feels really elegant, so I do quite like it. But yeah, you can see this little gunmetal gray wave surrounding that dragon face, and then here's her alternate face as well, which I think is the best Happy Nia face we've ever gotten. Now, Happy Nia would not have been my pick for a new expression for Nia, because while this is probably the best Happy Nia face we've gotten, we do have plenty of others. However, we really don't have a great Angry Nia face, and there hasn't been one in sets since the LEGO Ninjago movie, so I know a lot of people probably just don't have an Angry Nia at all. So it would have been cool to get a new Angry Nia here, so it's a little disappointing that this is the expression they chose. However, at the very least, the expression is quite good. And then here's Dragon Power Nia, who I absolutely love. Once again, she reuses 3 parts. Those legs, that mask, and the face print. However, the torso piece and hood piece are all new. The hood now just has these light blue water swirls on it. It kind of reminds me of like the face marking she had in Ninjago Seabound when she entered her energy form, so that's cool to see here. But the coolest part here is the torso print. Just like the other two, she has a different color for her torso, but while for Lloyd and Kai it was just the secondary color that they used, for Nia it's an all new color that just isn't on her base suit at all, dark blue. But I actually think it works perfectly. Again, sort of calls back to her energy figure where she was all dark blue, but then she has like the samurai armor with water swirling behind it as well as in that dragon face, and then transparent blue arms of course to make it look like she's made of water. Turning her around, you can see she's got her symbol in the center of that armor right there, and then taking the armor piece off, there's a full look at that incredible torso print, as well as the torso print around the back, where actually I love how they did her symbol there. You also may notice there's like some scuff marks in the armor too, and that's printed in metallic silver. Just a beautiful minifigure all around. I think I slightly prefer Kai of the gimmick figures, but this is an easy second, and all 3 of them are really great. Nia usually doesn't get gimmick sets, so I'm really glad she got one for this wave, and both these figures overall are just fantastic. I wish she was a little more common, because only coming in 3 sets despite being one of the major characters of this wave is a little bit lame, considering the other 2 major characters, Kai and Lloyd, both come in 5. But I suppose it's good that at the very least she comes in more sets than the other 3 ninja. Speaking of the other 3 ninja, here are the next 2. We just have the Dragon's Rising versions of both Cole and Jay, and personally these are some of the suits I like less of the wave. However, that doesn't make them bad by any means. With Cole, I really love the digital eyes for him. They just look really great. He's got like these thick rectangular orange eyes, and like these dark red rocks around it, which I don't know, dark red's just a really cool color for him. It reminds me of like his energy suit from 2012, but it's a color he doesn't use all too often. However, the part of this figure I don't love is the torso print. I just feel like the orange is very flat. Kind of wish there was a bit more dimension to it, or maybe they had chosen another color instead. Because yeah, all the ninjas this wave are very monochrome, or if they do have 2 colors such as with Jay, it's like two different shades of the same color. But I don't know, I normally like orange on Cole, but the orange and black just really isn't doing it for me here. I think I would have actually preferred gray like he has with his belt and his legs. The torso just doesn't feel like it matches with everything else in my opinion. However, on the other hand, the legs are surprisingly great. Now, leg print to me is usually just a compliment for the torso piece. The torso print's the most important thing. But this leg print, I don't know, it's just way more spectacular than it has any right being. The thing I love about this is there's a very slight gold streak in the belt. I don't know if you guys could see that, but yeah, if I reflect in the light like that, you can see there's just the tiniest gold streak that goes on top of it, and that looks so nice, because it's so subtle, and none of the other ninja have that, but it adds a ton of dimension to the suit and makes it feel so elegant. And you can see that streak continues into the part of the belt that hangs down into the leg, and you can see there's a super thin orange line here too, and I think that amount of orange is perfect. Like on the torso, maybe a bit too much, but that little streak right there, that's great. That makes sure he doesn't feel like super monochromatic, while also not just like shoving a bright color in my face. So yeah, fantastic leg print. I'm just not the biggest fan of the torso. Turning these two around, here's a look at them from the back. As you can see, they've got those armor pieces with the swords in them, but of course I can remove the swords, and there's how they look with the dragon logos peeking out the back. Then here's Cole with his hood removed, as well as with his mask removed, and you can see there's not a ton else to this figure. He's got a bit of a gray undershirt, these two little like rock emblems, and there's a full look at that face print where he's somewhat angry, and then turning him around, he of course has an all new face just like all the other ninja this wave, where he's just got like this wide happy smile. I think this face print's pretty good for Cole, definitely better than our previous happy Coles. Maybe not the most show accurate in my opinion. There's probably better expressions they could have done. However, I am more than satisfied with this. Cole has not gotten too many faces in the past, so I'm happy to get anything new for him, and this definitely feels a lot less exaggerated than his previous expressions. Back torso print on him I actually think is pretty great. I don't know, the black rock shards really help break up the orange for me, and I like how it outlines the dragon face too. So yeah, I guess I just feel like the front torso print should have been broken up more, because especially with the armor on, I don't know, the orange just feels super flat to me. And then Jay is probably my least favorite figure of the wave. He's not bad by any means, he's just not super exciting in my opinion. The dark blue just really doesn't pop on top of the normal blue, even less than the dark red pops on top of red. So as such, very similarly to Kai, this feels like a very generic figure to me. I do like the yellow belt, it sort of pulls over the bright yellow from his core suit. That's nice to see, because bright yellow is a color that he doesn't use all too often, but I'm happy to see it here on his new suit. Jay might have my favorite of all the digital eye prints. He's got these sort of diamond-shaped eyes, and those are yellow, and then little blue lightning bolts surrounding them, and that genuinely looks quite cool and fits with the suit well. But yeah, I just don't have a ton to say about the torso piece. Like, the dark blue hands are cool, but I don't know, I wish there was just a different color used in the dark blue, or even if they changed up his base color to not just be this solid blue, maybe do something a little bit lighter. I don't know, Jay's a bit of a rough one to mess with his colors, because of course Nia and Zayn both use a little bit of blue as well, so you want to make sure Jay's blue is still distinct, and he doesn't get confused with the other two. So I guess I get why he is the way he is, and I definitely don't dislike the figure by any means. It just feels like it's on the more generic side of things. And there's a look at Jay's face print with the mask removed, as well as with the hood removed, and then turning these two around, there you can see Jay's alternate face as well as his back torso print. Alternate face is really great, it's like an angry face for Jay, and he's got like this closed mouth grimace. That's so different from every other Jay expression we've gotten. Jake hasn't had a great angry face previously. He had like a closed mouth, sort of angry, sort of annoyed face, but this one seems a lot angrier than that, and it's definitely just a great new one to get. Back torso print too is good, I like the design around the dragon, but the dark blue just really doesn't work for me. I wish they had chosen a color that pops more. So yeah, while they're far from my favorite figures of the wave, these two are both solid, and I'm happy to see that they're still here. And then here are the last two minifigures in this wave from the original Ninja cast. We have the all-new Dragon's Rising version of Zayn, as well as Core Master Wu. Now, Zayn's the other minifigure I was referring to when I said I wasn't sure if I preferred Nia or another figure, because yeah, this guy is really great. For one, he's got a mostly white color scheme, which is something that's surprising for Zayn, because he hasn't used that in a very long time. He's been using a lot of secondary colors such as gray or light blue, and while he does have those here, all the actual pieces are white, except for his hands. And that's a breath of fresh air. He feels snowy and wintry and fun. This is, in my opinion, what a Zayn suit should be. I guess the other thing is it doesn't feel super robotic either, right? He doesn't have part of his chest showing or anything. There's no, like, titanium printing. Like, no, this is a suit that a human could wear. It just so happens to be that Zayn's a robot. But yeah, the suit's just so bright and flashy in the best way possible. I think the gray and the light blue on the torso complement each other so perfectly. And, like, the little tips of gold on the belt as well as on Zayn's symbol. It just goes with everything so well. This figure is gorgeous in my opinion. It pops so much. And yeah, the more I think about it, I do think I actually slightly prefer this guy to Nia. Both figures are really good, but man, these colors just look so great on top of the white. You can see, of course, he's got the golden katanas on the back, just like every other ninja, and there's how he looks on the back with those removed. And then taking off his armor and mask piece, there you can see his full face print as well as his full torso print. Torso print has like these little ice spikes on it, and then he also has a dark blue undershirt, which is pretty cool to see. That's not a color that's used anywhere else, but I don't know, it fits with everything in my opinion. Obviously, you're not going to see it most of the time because the armor's going to be on, but yeah, I'm shocked to say that works for him. I like that a lot. Face print you can see is very angry, but those digital eyes have like little little ice shards around them in like this sort of teal color. And then the eyes themselves are more of a bright green, and they've got a super unique shape to them. I really like that. But then you can see Zayn's just got a very angry face underneath. And then turning him around, looking at his alternate face, a back torso print. Back torso print, I think this is easily the best one of any of them. The ice shards just look so good around that dragon head. And again, the colors look gorgeous on top of the white. And then here's also Zayn's alternate face, where you can see he's just got like a very neutral, stern expression. It's actually very similar to his original 2011 face, so it's cool to see them kind of call back to that. I will say this face feels maybe a little bit angrier than that one was, but still though, in my opinion, it's much better than the standard angry face we had from him previously. So yeah, really good figure and probably one of my favorites of the wave. I'll go over my overall favorites at the end of this video, but yeah, spoilers, I like this guy a lot. And then Core Wu, I don't have a ton to say about because he's the only minifigure in this wave that's not new. This is the same Sensei Wu figure that was introduced in January of last year, and then he also came in a set earlier this year, so this wave is the third appearance of this figure, and as such, I've covered him multiple times before on the channel. But in short, I like this version of Wu. I do think it's weird that he uses his legacy face instead of using his more updated design, and that of course also reflects his appearance in the show. But the torso and legs on this guy are quite good. I like the tan robe, it definitely breaks Sensei Wu up a bit, and like the gold trim around it looks beautiful. I can't talk about it all too much with his beard on, so we're gonna remove that in a moment. But here's a look at the back torso print. You can see he's got like this golden cloth down here with all these little symbols on it. I think those are the same symbols that were seen on the 10th anniversary golden figures, so it's cool to see those carried over here. And then he also has the word master written on the back of his torso in Ninjago. And then turning him back around, there's a full look at his torso piece. I love the gold trim on the tan robe, that looks beautiful, as well as the gold trim on like his white outfit underneath. Yeah, this guy's a really good figure. I'm happy to see another way to get him. Obviously, I would have preferred an all-new Sensei Wu for this wave, but I suppose this guy's better than nothing. So if you don't have him yet, yeah, this wave's a good way to get him. But obviously, if you already got one of the two Ninjago core sets that he comes in, he's probably not the most exciting figure here. Now moving on here, the two all-new ninja for this wave, we have Aaron and Sora. This is of course the first appearance of these characters, and so far the only suits that they have. They do sort of have casual versions in the Ninjago City markets, however they're hardly different. Sora literally just gets a hairpiece, and Aaron gets a different leg piece as well as a hairpiece, but the torso on him is exactly the same. So yeah, while they'll probably get new suits in future waves, this is our first look at these two, and I have to say, I actually quite like both of their designs. Starting with Aaron, you can see he's very similar to the other ninja in this wave. He doesn't have like that digital eye face that the rest of them have. I wonder if there's going to be any explanation for that in the show. But yeah, you can see the rest of the suit is basically just a standard ninja suit except in orange, or bright orange specifically. He also uses regular orange on his one arm as well as on his printing, and that definitely gives him a very unique look. Because the two colors are so similar, so the detail on him does feel kind of subtle, but I don't know, in my opinion it works. I don't mind that. The other interesting thing is while he does use the same armor piece as the rest of the ninja, he has an all-new different hood piece which does look quite similar, however it has these golden horns out the front. Very curious what the deal with those are, and why he's wearing them. But yeah, it definitely looks quite cool, I like them on him. And of course you can see the hood piece is dual molded into both bright orange and gold. The only part I don't love about this figure is the belt. You can see it's like this grayish green color, and yeah, I don't think that's the prettiest. I get the reason it's green is probably to reference Lloyd, because Aaron looked up to Lloyd as a kid, and then Lloyd obviously went on to train him. So I think the idea was to put a little bit of green in the suit as like a tribute to Lloyd. However, I think they would have been better off going with like dark green, because this shade of green, I don't know, doesn't really match with the orange in my opinion. Removing his hood piece though, there's how he looks. And then completely removing his mask piece, there's a full look at his face print and his torso print. The torso print, as I mentioned, is just casual Aaron. So actually underneath his ninja suit, it's just a hoodie. It's not like a unique ninja robe. With the armor though, it does look like it's meant to be a ninja suit. But yeah, with it off, you can see he's got an undershirt underneath, and it becomes a lot more obvious that these things on the side are meant to be pockets. And then turning him around, taking a look at his back torso print, you can see that orange dragon that he has on the front sort of continues around the back, and then he's got his name written in Ninjago right there. The face print on him I do think is pretty good. You can see he's got like these smaller, thicker eyebrows, and that's what LEGO does when they want to indicate that a character is a child. So while Aaron does have long legs in this set, it's clear to me that he is still supposed to be quite young. And I like how he has printed hair around the side, so that's a nice touch. However, it's a bit unfortunate that he does not have an alternate face. Would have been nice to see because all the other characters have it. I think the reason he doesn't is because when he put his hairpiece on, his face would show out the back. But I mean, that's the same thing with Zayn, and Zayn still gets an alternate face. So yeah, I definitely wish he still got one here. Preferably with those like digital eyes, that would have been cool. Would have helped him match the rest of the ninja a little bit better. But I think the one face we did get is fine, and it fits the character well enough from what we've seen, so I can't complain too much. And then Sora has a really interesting design. While she is a part of the ninja team now, just like Aaron, her outfit looks nothing like the rest of the ninja, while Aaron pretty much just is an orange ninja to match with the rest. The only unique thing about him is really the horns and the fact that his torso prints a jacket. Sora just doesn't really match the others at all. She uses the same armor piece as the rest of them, but that's about it. But yeah, of course, she can also hold his two golden katanas out the back. Same thing with Aaron. But yeah, her upper hood piece is a completely different mold, and you can see it's like an actual hood like you'd see on a jacket, with these little cat ears on it, and it's dual molded in dark blue and coral, and the coral's used for her hair as well as the inside of the ears. Super cool look though, I honestly really like it. Sora's also one of very few Ninjago figures to ever have arm printing. Aside from the LEGO Ninjago movie, I think there's only been one like wide release set to have a figure with arm printing, and that was Cole RX all the way back in 2016. So Sora's one of two characters this wave to have that new arm printing, and I think it looks great. You can see it's golden with like this orange energy running through it. It's very similar to the design you'll see on the Imperium villains in a moment, but it just makes this figure feel extra high quality. So cool to get that in like one of the new main characters for the show. And then you can see her torso is white coral and dark blue, and she uses a bit of sand blue in the background right there. A lot of Sora's outfits are very cat themed. You can see she's got like this cat keychain right here, and there's another cat face around the back, which we'll see in a moment. But then it's also designed to sort of look like a racing suit, because Sora like races her bike, we know that about her. So yeah, she's got all these like little buckles and straps on her. One thing I think is actually pretty funny is her belt at the bottom here. Her belt's actually a seat belt, it looks like, with that golden buckle in the center. That's super silly, but in my opinion that works. I think that's a lot of fun. And then removing the mask and armor piece, there's a full look at her torso print, as well as a look at her face print with that hood up. Now the hood without the armor piece kinda works. It does cut off a little bit short, but it doesn't look as bad as I thought it would look. So yeah, this is an option for displaying her if you don't have like her hairpiece from the Ninjago City markets, but it's certainly not perfect by any means. Still a cool option to have though. However, if I remove that hood piece completely, there you can see a full look at her face print. And this is her happy face where she's using her powers, and this is actually very interesting. So she's got these glowing pink eyes, and that happens when she uses her powers, but then she also got like these gold whiskers around her face and above her eyebrows. Those are kind of subtle, but they're very cool. Very curious what the deal is with those in the show. Turning her around though, looking at her alternate face, you can see here she's angry, but she's not using her powers. But yeah, once again, those gold flakes are there, so I don't think they tie in with her powers. I think that's just part of who she is. So yeah, very curious what the deal with that is, but definitely makes her look quite unique. Now I will say, while I do like both of her face prints, I kind of wish they were swapped around. I think she should be using her powers when she's angry, and then I would like just a neutral happy expression for her. Like this way around isn't awful, I suppose, but I hope we get the other way around in the future, because yeah, I'd like to have a way to display her without using her powers where she's not angry. Anyway, turning around there, you can take a look at her back torso print, and here you can see like there's that seatbelt design around the back again, and she's got like this little grumpy cat face, which is absolutely adorable. It of course fits with her whole cat theming thing, but it's also just super silly and a lot of fun. And then it has the Ninjago letter S written on there too, of course for Sora. So yeah, as far as figures for new main characters go, I think these are both pretty great. I do have like very minor criticisms with both of them, but as a whole they're quite good. I'm happy to see LEGO went all out with these figures. It really feels like they're meant to be a new part of the main team. Then here are the next two figures in this wave. The final of the heroes, we have the all-new Baby Dragon Baby Ryu. I pronounced it Ryu in a lot of my reviews, but yeah, we've got some clips for the show and they pronounce it Ryu in the show. I think I prefer Ryu as a name, but yeah, it's Ryu now. And then we also have the first of the main villains of this wave, Rapton, right here. So Ryu is of course adorable. He's one big molded piece, but he just looks absolutely perfect. I love like his little green eyes, and he's got some printed blue spots too. But the overall piece is in like sand blue. He's got like a super nice texture design with like the scales running down his back, and the two little tiny wings coming out. And then of course he's got 4 anti-studs on the bottom of his feet, and that's how you can actually connect him to sets. So for example, I can stand him up right here. I don't have a ton to say about him, because I mean, what you see is what you get, but I think giving the ninja a baby dragon was a great idea, and this guy is so cute. I love him so much. And then Rapton is one of the new main villains of this wave, and he's actually got quite a cool design. So as you'll see, all the villains use this all new armor piece that's in 2 colors, both black and gold, but I love the design with like the little spikes coming off the torso. The villains this wave, the Imperium, also seem to be very high tech, both in terms of their outfits and their accessories. They've sort of got like a circuitry-like design going on, and there's like these glowing orange lights all throughout, as well as tons of metal plating. I think it works perfectly for Rapton here. On his face print, he's also got this really neat visor, and his hairpiece is like Crux's hairpiece, but it's in white instead of gray. And then removing the armor piece, there's a full look at the torso print, where you can see he's got like this glowing orange core in the center, as well as 2 more smaller glowing lights up in the corners. This almost kind of looks like a face to me, right? Like those are 2 eyes and nose, this is a wide open mouth, and that's the bottom jaw. Don't know if that's intentional or purely coincidental, but definitely interesting to think about. But yeah, there's just a super high level of detail in this guy. So many different colors used. The metallic printing looks great. Once again, it definitely feels like they went all out with this guy. Turning him around, take a look at his back torso print as well as his alternate face. Again, super high-tech design. And alternate face you can see is very angry. And he's got like these golden teeth in the bottom of his mouth, which yeah, that looks awesome. Also, small thing, but looks like he has a scar over one eye, though obviously we can't see it up close because he's wearing a visor. Yeah, I like this minifigure all around. Next, we have the other 2 main villains of the wave. We have Empress Beatrix and Lord Ras. You can see both of them use that same armor piece that Rapton used, though this time around it's in gold instead of black. I forget if I pointed this out with Rapton, but yeah, these armor pieces also have studs around the back. None of the minifigures in this wave actually use any back attachments, but if you want to build your own back attachments for these guys, you can, and maybe in future waves they'll reuse these armor pieces and give them like a jetpack or something. But yeah, I think that's quite cool. It definitely opens up a lot of possibilities. Anyway, starting here with the Empress, she's got a really cool hairpiece. I don't think the piece itself is new, but the color definitely is. And yeah, you can see it's just parted off to one side. She's got like this gold plating on her face, very similar to Sora's. However, Sora's seem more like wavy, while in the Empress it's a lot more like rigid and angular. It fits with like the whole circuitry design that the Imperium has going for them. However, there's one big thing I don't like about this figure, and that's if you turn this figure around. Because then you can see the Empress's alternate face is just peeking out back there. You can see a bit of her cheekbone on one side as well as her angry expression down here, and that's just because the hairpiece just simply isn't long enough to cover that up. Now, if you turn the hairpiece a bit, you can get it fully covered, covered. Or, hold on, there's still a little bit peeking out. There you go, that's fully covered. But if we turn it back around to the front, this isn't a bad look per se, but this just isn't an accurate look. That's not how she looks in the show. Her hairpiece is sideways like that. This is how she's supposed to look, but yeah, that just reveals way too much of her face around the back. So unlike Aaron, I think this is the kind of figure where you don't want a double-sided face. So I kind of wish she just came with a single-sided one here, because yeah, I don't know, that doesn't look the best from the back. Now, if you turn that angry face to the front, then the alternate face doesn't peek out as much around the back. You can still see a bit of that cheekbone, but it's not nearly as bad. But yeah, when this face is on the back, it doesn't look great. So for such an important character, that's a little bit disappointing to see, but I suppose it's not the biggest deal in the world, because you can always remove one of the faces if you really wanted to. Anyway, now taking a look at the rest of the figure, you can see she's got like a gunmetal gray suit on, and then like these black robes draped on top of it. Definitely makes her feel like royalty, especially when compared to the rest of the figures in this wave, which I assume she's supposed to be considering she's called the Empress. Very like linear design with all the lines in her torso too, and the golden shoe printing also looks fantastic. Removing the armor piece, there's a full look at her torso print, where you can see she has like these glowing lights similar to like what Rapton had, and then turning around taking a look at her back torso print, she's got like this very hexagonal design. I assume that's the symbol of the Imperium, so it makes sense that she'd have it around the back, and then there's also just like two dark red little banners back here. Face prints I didn't talk about too much, but I do think both expressions are good. Obviously I don't like how it peeks out behind the hair, but yeah, you can see one side of the face is just slightly annoyed, and then the other side of the face is very angry. So I think both work for her, and she makes for a super cool villain. I just wish that face print was handled a little bit better. And then Ras, who's a very different character. Obviously that same armor piece, but he's not a human character at all. He's like this wolf-tiger hybrid thing. I know a lot of people are theorizing that he's from Chima, considering that Chima's now like a part of Ninjago after the merge. That'd be super cool if they confirm that, because yeah, he feels like he could be a modern Chima figure. He's just got like this huge molded head, glowing orange eyes, and then purple stripes on the top of his head as well. Ras is wearing robes too, very similarly to the Empress. However, his are in dark red, and dark red's a color that most of the other Imperium don't use. It's in a few of the generic villains, but not super prominently, so that definitely makes Ras stand out on top of just everything else he has going on. He also has that orange hexagonal power source that all of them have, and then if you look at his leg print, it looks like he has gold-plated armor on underneath everything. So yeah, it looks like this guy's definitely armored up, ready for battle. I love like all the circuitry running up his robes too. Those are such tiny little lines, but they just add so much detail. Very similar to like the one gold streak on Cole's belt that I talked about earlier. And then removing his armor piece and turning his head out of the way, there's a full look at Ras's torso print. You can see he's got a bit of gold armor at the top of his torso too. Turning him to the side, you can see he's actually the other character with arm printing. He's got like these pinkish purple tiger stripes on his arms, as well as like a golden bracelet at the very end, though maybe that's supposed to be like a gauntlet onto his hand. And then finally turning him around, he once again has that hexagonal torso design, as you can see very similar to what the Empress has. So overall, I love that we get 3 named villains this wave, and I love that each of them are so different too. Personally, I think of the 3 designs, Ras is my favorite, but only by a little, followed by the Empress and then by Rapton. But all of them are really great, and I just love how unique each of them is. Now coming to just the generic villains of the wave, here are the first 2. We have an Imperium Claw General and an Imperium Guard Commander, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, yeah, these are the more common variants of these guys. Despite being called General and Commander, they're more common than just like the generic foot soldiers, which is a little bit strange. Maybe their names should be swapped around, but regardless, I do like the design of these guys. The Imperium Claw General is probably my favorite of all the generic villains. You can see both these two actually share the same torso, leg, and armor piece that Rapton has. The only difference is these face prints and the helmet pieces, so I won't be covering the torso and legs and everything again. So if you want to see what those look like up close, rewind the video and take a look at the Rapton section again, because yeah, these are exactly the same. But yeah, the Imperium Claw General, I don't know, just the gold and black go together so well. So the fact that he has this golden face piece here with the black armor around it, it's just awesome. I love how it looks. The helmet piece on him is really interesting too. It's like this sort of samurai-like helmet with horns coming out the front, however, it almost seems like it's tilted back. Very curious as to like the inspiration behind that. Like, where's that come from? Definitely quite cool and works for the bad guys, but just so different. I don't even know what to think about it. And then the guard commanders have like this giant disc on the top of their head, which this is quite cool as well. Again, maybe a little bit silly, but I don't know. I kind of love how out there it is. There's a stud at the front if you want to attach something there. The Ninjago City Markets actually uses this piece to be like a frying pan. But yeah, then you just have like this robotic head in the front. So I think they work quite well. Then removing their helmet pieces, there's a full look at their face prints. The Imperium Claw General just has its golden face with 4 different eyes. And of course those eyes are glowing with that orange power. While the Imperium Guard Commander also has a gold faceplate, though it's printed on top of a black head rather than a gold one. And they just have one giant glowing eye. Definitely very spooky looking. I'm still not entirely sure if in the show these guys are going to be robots or if they're actually people wearing these suits. But either way, I love the design. And the reason I ask is because they do feel very robotic. But who knows, I guess we'll have to see. And then taking a look at the back head prints, you can see it's actually the same between the both of them. Except obviously one's printed on a gold head and one's printed on a black head. But yeah, you just have more of that orange power and all of that golden plating. But yeah, you saw when I talked about Rapton, the torso and leg pieces here have such a high level of detail. So the fact that these are just being used on generic villains is so cool. I quite like both of these guys, the Claw General especially. And then here are the other 2 generic villains in this wave, the golden versions of the 2 that we just looked at. This is an Imperium Claw Hunter, and this is just an Imperium Guard. And these 2 you can see have the same helmet and armor pieces, though just recolored in gold. And then then the headpieces are actually exactly the same as the ones we just looked at, but the big difference here is the torso and leg pieces. Now this is the same piece between the two of them, however somehow these are even more detailed. Here's a quick 360 spin of the recolored helmets if you want to see them any closer. But yeah, obviously we kind of already took a look at them with the previous two minifigures, so let's just get right into that torso print. I'm only taking one of the two minifigures apart because they do have the exact same printing. However, yeah, look at that design. So it's gold printing on top of a gold piece, and I love whenever LEGO does that, because the difference between the two golds is subtle, but there is still a clear difference, and they just look so nice together. There's also that orange energy all throughout, and you can see these guys actually use a little bit of dark red, kind of similar to Ras. But yeah, with all those colors combined, this almost feels like an Iron Man suit to me, especially with that glowing energy core in the center. But you can see the detail goes all the way down, even into the toes. Just such a fantastic design all around. I love like the circuitry design too, like you can see it comes up one leg. These guys seem armored and ready to battle. Just such amazing minifigures all around. Back torso print too, I love all the dark red. The orange and the dark red is a great color combination. There's just a super high level of detail, and these figures are incredibly elegant. I can't believe they put this much effort into just the generic villains for this wave. And yeah, as I said, the guard's exactly the same. There's a full look at the face print on that one though. As you can see, it's the same as the guard commander that we just looked at. And then I won't spend too long on these, but here's a look at the brick-built Imperium Drones that come in the sets, or at least the first two. They all have very similar head designs, but there are some slight differences in the builds. And they're cute. It's a nice way to get alternate villains, but obviously they're not as detailed as the minifigures. And here's the final two drones, which you can see are very similar. I do like the golden Wolverine claws on this one. That's kind of fun. But yeah, I don't have much else to say on them. Nice to get 4 across all the different sets, and I like how they are slightly different, but they are just little brick-built robots. And then here are the final two minifigures in this wave, the two exclusive minifigures that only come in one set each. We have Wildfire and we have the Spirit of the Temple. I'm including them at the end of the video because I didn't really know where else to include them. I do think Wildfire is going to be a new hero, but I don't think she's necessarily a ninja. And then the Spirit of the Temple, I have no clue what his deal is, so I just put him at the end here. But yeah, it's always really cool when we get one-off characters like this, and both these figures I actually think are really great. My favorite part about Wildfire is by far that new hairpiece, or it's not entirely new, it's reused from Changa from Lego Monkey Kid. However, it's completely recolored here in red and gold, and man, that just works perfectly for this figure. Now, I don't think all the symbolism translates over completely. For example, like this crescent moon is a part of Changa's design, but on Wildfire, it's more of just like a hairpin. And then Changa is also very rabbit-themed to Monkey Kid, so you can see there's like a little bunny back here. But again, I mean, the show could surprise me, but I doubt Wildfire is going to be bunny-themed at all. Still though, the design of the actual hair itself is awesome. I love the way it sort of just frames her face print, and also curves out around the back. I think that's a fantastic part. Then you can see she's also got some sort of firepower going on, so obviously she's very fire-themed, similar to Kai. However, they did a great job at making her feel distinct from Kai. Like, they very easily could have just done red and dark red, and while it would have been a new print for this character, it may have still felt like it could have been a Kai suit. But yeah, this torso and leg design is very clearly not meant to be for Kai. She uses sand green as her main color, which is a color that really isn't used in Ninjago all too often. I can't think of any other characters that really use that, so that definitely makes her stand out. But I love the dark red trim on it with like the sort of fiery design running up, and then she has like this orange cloak around her waist, and you can see it's like frayed at the bottom too. Yeah, I just love the colors, love the design. And then you can see her face print here is pretty interesting. She's got like these big bushy red eyebrows, a little scuff mark on her face, and she's quite angry. I like that face print, except for one major thing, is she does not have an alternate face, and I don't know why. There's no reason for her to not have an alternate face. Even like Aaron, I understand a little bit why he doesn't have one. It's because of his hairpiece. They want to be able to fit his hairpiece without his face sticking out the back. But yeah, as you can see, Wildfire's hairpiece has complete coverage over the back of her head, so there's no reason really not to have an alternate face. So that's a little disappointing, because now she's just constantly stuck angry, and I don't think that's a great option for her. Because while I do like having an angry option for my minifigures, I would like her to have a neutral face too. I don't want her to always look like this. So yeah, the lack of an alternate face print is definitely my biggest criticism with this minifigure, but other than that, I think she's fantastic, and a super cool exclusive to get. And then finally we have the Spirit of the Temple, who is super interesting. He uses like this green and black color scheme. The printing on his face is very subtle, especially on his alternate face. I love the lime green trim on the robes, it just pops so much against everything. He's got the word spirit written there in jargon, and then like these little leaves climbing up the side. There's also this little feather symbol around his bell. I assume that's something to do with the merge, though I don't know exactly what. And then turning him around to the back, you can see also has the word spirit written back there, and it's like swirling in this dark green rift. Taking his hood piece off, you can see his full face print as well as a better look at his torso print. You can see his eyes are like solid white and his eyebrows have detached from themselves, and then his beard is glowing like this bright green, and it's like lifting up into the air. But if we take a look at his alternate face, it's a lot more subtle. It's just this bushy mustache and eyebrows, and it looks like he's meant to be a bit of a statue because there's little cracks in his face too. And I almost didn't mention the front of his torso piece, but yeah, it's just got like this funky energy design running all throughout, with these little like spirit faces in there. So curious to see what this guy's deal is. Now, while I love this minifigure, I don't think he's going to be the biggest deal in the show. Like, I think he is probably important, but probably not as important as Wildfire, so I don't know why he gets an alternate face and she doesn't. I don't know. But all things considered, I think these two are both great minifigures, and I love whenever set waves just have like one-off figures like this. They're a lot of fun. And there you go, there is every single minifigure featured in the Summer 2023 Ninjago Ninjago Dragons Rising sets. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this did not include the Ninjago City Markets minifigures, because if it did, this video would be like double the length. Just go check out my full review of that set if you want to see my thoughts on the minifigures in it. Personally, I think my favorite minifigures of the wave are the new version of Zayn, the gimmick suit for Kai, as well as Sora and Ras. However, I quite like all the minifigures of this wave. There's honestly not really any bad ones. Even the generic villains are super high quality, and I love the variants here too. There's 7 different total villain variants if we count both named and unnamed, and the fact that there's 2 exclusive side characters is so much fun too. And then of course, while not technically a minifigure, I can't not mention Baby Ryu again, because I mean, come on, he is the best figure ever created. How could you not love that little guy? But yeah, in terms of least favorites, I don't know. I guess my least favorite would be Dragons Rising J, but I don't even dislike that figure. I just think it's a little bit bland compared to the other ninja. And then maybe the Empress, because that face print thing's annoying, but I do really love the rest of her design, so I would feel wrong to call her my least favorite figure of the wave. So yeah, I guess Dragons Rising J would be my least favorite figure of this wave, but I still like that figure. They really went all out with these, so all of them have a super high level of detail. And while I do have very minor criticisms for a few of them, all around it's a great collection. I was thoroughly impressed. But of course, that's just my thoughts and everything. Let me know who your favorite and least favorite minifigures of this entire wave were in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and go check out my full reviews of all the Ninjago Dragons Rising sets. And as for this one, I think that's about all I have to say. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!